VinFast is a Vietnam EV maker which went public last week on the US exchanges. And right out the gate, they had a market cap that was greater than Ford and GM combined. Now, in that video, I mentioned not to chase price, look for price to close the gap, and then potentially look to get long. Price went all the way, rightfully so, to the origin of the strong move higher, which was down at the $10, $11 before closing Friday up at $15.40. Now, what's interesting is that even at that close of $15.40, the market cap is roughly $35 billion, which is still higher than GM at $34 billion, but less than Ford at $47 billion. But here's why price is going to go lower than the IPO. Just a couple of reasons. According to the registration data from Experian, by the end of June, only 151 units were registered in the country. This is the US. Interestingly, the number of new registrations in June amounted to 23 and was lower than in April and May. VinFast is not profitable and delivered just 11,300 vehicles in the first half of the year. VinFast lost $2.1 billion in 2022 and reported first quarter revenue down 49% year over year. VinFast, a company whose first reviews in the US include the words embarrassing and nowhere near ready. Not only that, but shortly after the company's electric VF8 SUV began deliveries stateside, the company issued a recall for all of the US bound models because of a major software issue. There's roughly 2.3 billion shares. However, only 1% of the total shares is available for trade. Who owns the other 99%? The founder of VinFast. This is why I'm saying the current price is going to go below the IPO price in the coming weeks, but no later than in the coming months. I want to wrap this video up by looking at a video from Bloomberg where VinFast CEO talks to Bloomberg commentators. She differentiates VinFast from other EV companies by emphasizing their existing lineup and production of 100,000 vehicles. She acknowledges the negative reviews and recalls, but emphasizes that VinFast uses the feedback to improve their vehicles. She discusses plans for expansion, including hiring more people, as their North Carolina plant nears opening. She also mentions the commitment of up to $2.5 billion from the shareholder group and chairman, and expresses intentions to engage with investors for potential future funding opportunities, including sovereign wealth funds.
VinFast had told Bloomberg that the purpose of going public via SPAC was not to raise funds, Madam Thuy. Was this just a marketing exercise to get VinFast's name out there?
Thank you. We have been working on the US listing for like 2 years, and we're very happy that we made it today. VinFast has become a publicly listed company in the US. It's not just it's not a marketing. It's just a milestone that we want to achieve as on path of becoming a global company.
Madam Thuy, I've covered many electric vehicle makers that have gone public via SPAC. I won't list them, but not many of them have been successful thus far. Do you need to raise more capital? Are you speaking with sovereign wealth funds, as an example, to raise capital to grow quickly here in the United States?
I mean, one thing you should notice that we are very different from a lot of EV companies that have gone public by way of SPAC. We already have a lineup of vehicles. We have 7 models of EVs. that we have announced to the market. We have manufactured about 100,000 vehicles. We have delivered close to 20,000 EVs, mostly in Vietnam, but also in the US, and we finished the homologation of our vehicles to the EU. So we are very different from other companies because we are a lot more ready when we get listed.
Madam Thuy, talk about those global ambitions, because you say you're different from other EVs, but what many an EV experiences during growing is recalls, is perhaps the odd critical, unflattering review, and you haven't managed to avoid that thus far. How do you navigate that here in the US to rectify some, perhaps, the PR hit that you sustain from those poor reviews and recalls?
Actually, if you look at the reviews or the publicity about us, most of them are positive or at least neutral, right? Let's wait and see. There have been some like negative reviews. We take them very close to our heart. We reflect on the feedback of from those reviews, and we make our vehicles better. We update the software when we make the vehicles better. We actually really appreciate the feedback from the public, from the consumers, because it's a way for us to become better.
And it affects your own workforce. Talk to us about the US workforce. You consolidated it, saying goodbye to certain individuals, put together North America more broadly. Are you going to expand? Because I know you're going to put manufacturing here.
Well, I think VinFast and Vingroup, we always continue to optimize on our resources. And restructuring of North America was just part of the optimization of the resources. We always try to become better. In the US, with the North Carolina plant, we started expanding, we started hiring people. I think we at the early stage of building the plant out, but as the plant go into getting closer to opening, then we start bringing in more people.
Your founder committed about $2 billion of his own personal capital to VinFast. Will the founder have to put more money in? I just want to go back to this idea of sovereign wealth funds as well. You know, in terms of a capital need, where are your priorities to raise?
We have the commitment from our shareholder Vingroup and our chairman up to $2.5 billion. So that would help us continue on our path. We have been talking as part of the traditional IPO. We were talking with a lot of the investors, and after becoming public today, we will continue the dialogue with a lot of the investors, sovereign wealth funds, but many other institutional investors as well. When the time is right for another transaction, or for the transaction to bring in significant funding for VinFast, we will do so. Meanwhile, we have very regular conversations with our with potential investors.